opinion, and I can also share my opinion. So let's have class on the same. Moving on, if I see share market, so there are number of participants, as we all know. So we're going to have variety of participants who are participating in market on everyday basis. But here, so you have to give emphasis on investors. But emphasis on investors can be given only when you understand the other heads of investors as well. Example, see on the left side, there is a person who is just pumping the money. Pumping the money is not so easy. So if you become something called as a speculator, you can pump the money. Now, what exactly a speculator is? Speculator is a person who is a sophisticated investor who always looks for grabbing investment opportunities, grabbing assets, and holding it for certain period of time on the basis of bearish trend. In simple words, even when the prices are moving ahead, even when the prices are down, on both the sides, he will try to make money. He is called as a speculator. But remember, I mentioned it as sophisticated investor. In the sense, initially he was an investor. Over a period of time, because of a knowledge, because of a techniques, because of a strategies which he has implemented, thereby he is making a huge amount of money. And on the right side, you can find somebody called as hedging or hedger, who always looks for transferring a portion of risk from one party to another party. Now, what exactly risk is? Remember, each and every business will gonna have different dimensions of risks. Each and every risk will gonna create something called as uncertainties for business. As a business person or as an investor for that matter, I always tries to hedge the risk, because when I'm expecting something, if it doesn't happen is as per the way and vision bill, automatically I'm gonna have the risk. Correct? So I try my level best in terms of hedging the risk to other party. So you can also be a hedger, but hedger initially will become an investor. Similarly, as an investor, because broker always works for the basis of commission. So again, he is a participant. Sometimes he also does the investment. He also collects the money from investor and makes an investment. On the right side, there is somebody called arbitrator. Arbitrator is also an investor initially, and later he gets into an arbitrage role where he tries to act in two markets. Where the prices are low, he tries to purchase. Where the prices are high, he tries to sell. That means he is acting in two different markets, purchase and sale on contrary basis, so that he's gonna make a money. Now, finally, all the phases, whatever I was talking about, everything is a combination of all the different phases of investors. Now, what exactly an investor is? Now, if you just see, investor can be of three types based on the perception we talk about. Generally, we say, like, there are different types or phases of investors based on the perception. On the basis of risk we talk about. So risk averter, risk neutral, risk taker. Now I'll point out, just observe here, he is a risk averter who always look for less risk with less returns. And risk neutral or equal risk with equal returns. Risk taker who always look for highest amount of risk with highest amount of returns. Stock market is considered as the risky instrument. Why? Because it has lots and lots of volatility, fluctuations. So you must be an investor who is capable of taking a highest amount of risk added with highest amount of returns. But this concept looks old. Now the concept is something different, where you have to win the market. If you wanted to win the market, then your income must be high and your risk must be low. This is what the entire idea that I'm talking about. So when this idea will going to come into picture, only when you use something called analysis. Now, what exactly analysis we're going to discuss in future. Now, if you wanted to be a successful investor, what you have to do? So there are certain things which are very much important as per my point of view, which I'm going to discuss. If you observe here, you have to have a goal in order to get into stock market. So don't get into stock market with an intention that, yes, I'm going to make money. First, you have to learn the stock market and identify the trends and strategies. Then you can make money. So have a goal to learn first. How you will learn? Not by mere, like teaching. You have to invest. How do we need to invest? We have to have certain small amount of money, which we call as savings. So try to save money. In that savings, don't invest everything. So invest only 10 to 20% of it on stock market, so that you will learn the stock market initially. Later, you can go for investment. Now, when you have savings, you need somebody called a platform. I invest through Zerodha, so that's why I have given Zerodha as a platform here. It's a platform provided for the purpose of making an investment. Now the goal is ready and the savings are ready and you have a plan. But how do we need to invest? Shall I go and directly invest in stock market, or shall I give my money to somebody else? We call this as direct investment as well as indirect investment. When you give your money to asset management company and the asset management company invest on stock market, that is called as mutual funds, and it's an indirect investment. So what you people have to do if you want to become an investor? If you want to become an investor, try to start with something called SIP. SIP stands for Systematic Investment Plan, where you will not invest a huge sum of money which you have saved from years, cumulative basis. You will invest on systematic basis to an extent of 500 to 1,000 rupees on stock market every month. So when you do so, you will try to get to know what is the value of your investment. Now, once it is done, once the systematic investment plan strategy is done, you are not supposed to stop there. You should not have to say like, yes, I have invested everything on gold. No, no, no. It should not be like that. You have to have your investment diversified. If you observe picture number 5, it talks about something called diversification. Don't invest everything on one instrument. You have to invest on all the other instruments. And the next picture talks about something called rumors. I guess most of you will gonna have the like a belief saying like stock market means you will gonna lose money. Stock market means it's more of like gambling. So let me tell you, I have a practical experience with reference to stock market, and my first transaction is a loss. And stock market with the help of loss only. That loss triggered me to learn more and more with reference to stock market. I know what I'm doing it with reference to stock market. Only thing is you have to learn. That's all. So don't ever believe rumors. If you don't have to believe on rumors, then you should do something called learn and earn. That is what we are doing now. So we are learning for the purpose of earning. So if you learn, you will earn only with the help of quality of stocks. So how do we need to select quality of stocks? What and all we have to observe? Let us try to understand. So I think everyone are ready to have something called learn and earn today. So I'm trying to give you a knowledge with reference to learn. So that you terms and conditions and the precautionary measure that I'm not giving any kind of an advice to you. So please do make sure that you're going to have the concept with you. So I'm not giving any kind of an advice to you. I'm just telling you it is the way wherein which you try to learn the stock market and you invest on stock market. So till now, am I audible to everyone?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You're audible. Go on.
Done. Thank you. Now, so let's get into the crux of the entire analysis part. So the topic is on technical analysis, but the technical analysis is just a small part of the entire analysis which we carry out with reference to stock market. So when you are selecting a stock, first you're going to start with fundamental, then you're going to break up in terms of company, economic analysis, industry analysis, and technical analysis. So at the end, you do something called technical analysis, not at the initial stage. But as of now, we do something called financial analysis, we do valuation analysis, and also we do management analysis. Remember, even though there is a slight change with reference to income, it will affect the stock prices. Even though the company has a decision taken by so proper company B, that affects valuation, that's called as valuation analysis. Similarly, if the management changes from Mr. A to Mr. B, that will also affect the stock market. That means, as I told you at the beginning stage, market will discount each and every information and depicts the prices to the market so that investors either have a choice to buy or have a choice to sell. Now, our prime objective is to understand these 5 analyses in detail. I can say 0.001% of the entire stock market. So whatever I'm giving you now, that is again the same quantity, just because as it is considered to be an online webinar, I'm touching upon all the concepts which are with reference to selection of stocks. So your duty, you have to, like go in depth. Analysis, the first important thing is you should know what type of stock we have to select. Do we need to select growth stocks, or we need to select value stocks, or we need to select income stocks, blue chip stocks, or penny stocks? Let us understand. Growth stocks are those which will going to give you a good amount of income, but not in terms of regular money. It will be in terms of capital appreciation over a period of time, so which has a very good potential, which grow to a maximum extent. Example. Reliance recently launched its Geo, and you might have seen in news as well. The company is almost like zero debt now. So initially they took a loan, they started a company. Within a span of 6 to 7 months, they sold all their proprietary ratios with reference to stocks to majority of the companies who are from America and all. They made all of them as members, are considered to be owners of the company. They have taken the entire company as zero debt. The debt was almost 1,50,000 crores. The entire debt is wiped off now. It is just because the company is growing at a very fast pace. So, you just imagine how exactly Geo is. Second one, value stocks. Value stocks are those where the value is considered to be very minimum. We talk about something called intrinsic value. Intrinsic value is one where you will never get to know until and unless you sell. It's a value which is hidden. It's a value which will be calculated and not being called as market value. So the intrinsic value stocks where the value is minimum, but once you invest over a period of time, it will add on more values and it will become a bumper for you. Income stocks, which will going to give you regular income in the form of dividend. Blue chip stocks, which we talk about Sensex, if you remember. 30 stocks we have. 30 stocks are called as blue chip stocks because it gives a regular amount of returns with high liquidity option. Similarly, you have a penny stocks. So what are penny stocks? A small stocks which will be used for speculative purposes. Remember, most of the penny stocks will become one day a large cap stocks. In a sense, when you start initially, the business is very small, but over a period of time, because of various opportunities, the business will grow to a maximum extent and you're gonna have a money. So what I'm trying to say, penny stocks are used for investment purpose also, provided if the company's perspective is good, and it will be used for speculative purpose also in order to make a huge amount of money. Now, I think this is more essential for you to understand. The different types of securities that we have. Normally, we say when it comes to shares, preference shares and equity shares. Now it will be called as preferred and common stocks now. Now in books we can see preference shares, but normally in case of company there are no preference shares now. Common stocks means equity stocks. And you have something called stocks with embedded derivative options. That is either you have an option to have pre-maturity or you have an option to call back. So specifically speaking, they issue the security, but the issuer will gonna have the authority to call back, or the purchaser has the authority to pre-sell. Again, it's at the in-depth end, so which we have to understand. Next, you have something called hybrid stocks. I can say convertible bonds, if you know. So which has an option to convert that into equity shares. These three are, you believe it or not, it is at the upfront trend now in the terms of like selecting stocks. Now people will see whether do we have any embedded derivative options or we have any hybrid options which are available with reference to stocks. And on the basis of market capitalization, we say small cap, mid cap, as well as large cap. So which we can see in case of NSE and BSE. And on the basis of dividend payment, income stocks, growth stocks, which we have already understood. And on the basis of trends, cyclical stocks, defensive stocks. Cyclicals are more of like, on trend basis, which will work only for a stipulated period of time, not afterwards. Defensive are considered to be more, where in which they will never gonna have any kind of a changes at a sudden shock. So maybe like I can say, it will never gonna have too much of fluctuations, or possibilities of fluctuations. The important thing which I want you to understand is beta stocks. As I was mentioning, while selecting stocks, we're going to mention these 3 points which are considered to be very important. And this is a normal trend where everybody will observe small cap, mid cap, and large cap. But most of us are going behind something called beta stocks. So what is beta? Beta stocks is more of like systematic risk or risk which is attached with the security. So when we say beta stocks, we're going to talk about two trends here. One is market trend, another one is individual stock trend. When market moves, stock also moves. When market goes down, stock also goes down. In terms of risk also, if we define in the same way, it is called as beta stocks, where if market moves 1% ahead in terms of risk, stock will also move to an extent of 1% or more than 1% or less than 1%. If it is more than 1%, we call it as highest beta stocks. If it is less than 1%, we call it as lowest beta stocks. Likewise, we have to select stocks. Now, so we have a question again. Is fundamental analysis is prime for selection of stock? So we're going to analyze this and we will going to answer as well whether it is considered to be very important or not. Now, fundamental analysis normally done for a period of 3 to 5 years, where your investment objective is to have 3 to 5 years with an intention to understand business perspective. Remember, when you're investing in stock market, you will be called as the owner of the so-and-so company with reference to particular stock. If you are having 100 stocks, we say you are owner to an extent of 100 stocks. So if you are become an owner, it is necessary for you to understand the business perspective, how the business is. Believe me, so any investor who gets into stock market always have to have an objective of investing for a longer period of time, not for a shorter period of time. So once you get an experience, once you know the crux of the entire stock market, then you have to decide on something called speculative trends. Fundamental analysis talks about the intrinsic value, in the sense, if you hold this stock for 5 to 10 years, what is the value which you can derive over a period of time? And it is always on the basis of internal and external events which will going to influence the prices of the stocks. Basically speaking, we will going to have two approaches here. One is top-down analysis, another one is bottom-up analysis. Now I'm going to tell you what exactly top-down analysis is. So whenever an FDI comes into picture, foreign direct investment concentrates on countries, whether the country is growing up or not. Example, if you take an example of India for that matter, FDI is growing fast to India as well as China. Let's take an example that India is performing better. We say we'll come from the top. India. In India, what are all these industrial sectors which are performing better, whether it is cement or it is considered to be pharmaceutical or it is considered to be real estate. From real estate, we'll go down and we'll say these are the companies which are there in so-and-so sector. From so-and-so companies, we'll again narrow down to somebody called pharmaceutical with reference to Dr. Reddy Laboratories, Cipla or whatever. We say that. Among Cipla, in front of like Cipla for that matter, we're going to have variety of stocks again. So we'll take the stock as a piece here. In the sense, we started from India and we are narrowing down to stock of Cipla. That's called as top-down analysis. And what is bottom-up analysis? We are starting from Cipla, and Cipla belongs to pharmaceutical industry. Pharmaceutical industry is one of the industries that we take care for the purpose of calculation of growth of India. And India is #1 country in terms of FDI. This is called as bottom-up analysis. In the sense, when you're investing, you should see what type of an industry it is, what type of a company it is, what is the situation of a country, whether the country is good in terms of the entire economy. This is what you have to see. Now, basically speaking, in case of fundamental analysis, we'll go behind something called CAGR, compounded annual growth rate. In the sense, when you reinvest your money year on year basis, what will be the return which you can get over a period of time, or how the money is getting compounded. If you just see here, I have given 4 examples with reference to Bosch Limited from 2009. CAGR can be in positive, CAGR can also be in negative. So if you just see, Bosch is growing at a rate of CAGR 32%. Compounded annual growth rate is 32% on year-to-year basis. Similarly, if you see Eicher Motors, so CAGR is of 104%. That means if you just think of money, so if you are investing 100 rupees over a period of like 10 years, the 100 rupee will become 204 rupees. That's the simple example to understand what exactly CAGR is. But every year you're going to have the return of 104%. That is the compound annual growth rate. Similarly, you're going to have minus rates also with reference to Suzlon as well as R power. Now, this is what is important with reference to fundamental analysis. So you should know whether the company's earning per share is good or not. First important point, whether the company's earning per share is very good or not. Second one, you should understand whether the price to sales ratio is considered to be good or not. What is price to sales ratio? Where we try to equate the earnings of the company in terms of sales with share prices. Whether the earnings are good, share prices will also appreciate. If earnings are bad, share prices will also have a deficiency. Clear? Return on equity, that we call as return on investment. So if return on investment is good, automatically investors will try to select the stock. If return on investment is not good, automatically they will reject it. Correct? Similarly, dividend payout ratio. So there are two things here which you have to remember: dividend yield ratio, dividend payout ratio. Remember, whenever a company declares a profit, so that the proportion of profit is divided into two. One is called retained earnings, another one is called distribution of profits to shareholders. Dividend payout ratio is one where the amount of money, whatever you kept aside, will be paid to shareholders on the basis of earnings per share. In the sense, dividend payout ratio concentrates on how much money which you are paying to equity holders and what is the payout ratio which you are paying to them. Similarly, dividend yield ratio, in the sense, what is the total amount of returns which you are getting in the form of dividend for your investments. And there is something called PB ratio. So PB ratio is price to book ratio. Price to book ratio talks about something called the amount of money which you have paid compared with the book value. In the sense, market value and book value, both will be mentioned. And here I have one more ratio which I'm unable to mention. So it is called PE ratio, price earning ratio. Price earning ratio talks about earnings per share as well as market price per share. Now, all these are considered to be again the tools which will be used for the purpose of fundamental analysis. So remember, most of you might be feeling like it is considered to be like quite fast in terms of understanding. But what I'm trying to give you is the best ratios which are available for the purpose of understanding the fundamentals of it. Remember, if all these ratios are good, then it is good to go in terms of only fundamentals. Whether the company is good or not, we'll try to understand. So after all these ratios, you have to also understand PE ratio, price earning ratio. Now, so I have taken the screenshot of one company to make you to understand better. It is Sterlite Technologies Limited, belongs to telecom equipments, and it is a small cap. It's a small cap where the trade is more than, less than 5,000 crores market capitalization. If you just observe here, there is something called beta. You see it? So whatever we talk, everything is in terms of practical, where you have to understand. Beta is 1.93. 1.93 in the sense, if market goes down by 1%, the stock goes below to an extent of 1.93%. That means it is highly volatile. Market capitalization total rate is considered to be 4,770 crores. As I told you, less than 5,000 crores will be considered for the purpose of small cap. And you observe here, PE ratio, that is price earning ratio, is 10.57. 10.57 means what is the amount of money that the investor has to invest in order to earn 1 rupee from so-and-so company. Example, if I wanted to earn from Sterlite Technologies 1 rupee, how much I have to invest? That depicts price earning. That price earning is definitely compared with sector PE. What is sector PE? Telecom. Telecom is sector PE. That means I'm comparing sector as well as company. I am thinking like the sector is actually having 18.62% returns, where the stock is having only 10.57 returns. That means what? Fundamentally, P ratio is low compared to that of telecom industry. If P ratio is like 30.57, let us assume like that, 30.57, and the sector P is 18.62 only. Now what we can think? The sector is considered to be average rate is 18.62, but the company is giving 30.57, which is very good. That means I earn more money if I invest certain sum of money on so and so company. Similarly, PB ratio, price to book ratio, where we compare market price with book value, and the rate is 2.52. Remember, if the rate is less than 1, it is not good to go. If the rate is more than 1, it is good to go. In the sense, if it is less than 1, PB ratio is less than 1, don't invest. If PB ratio is more than 1, then it is better for investment. So if you just again see the sector PB is 4.64. That means sector consists of variety of companies, belongs to telecom equipment, and Sterlite Technologies is one of the company belongs to sector. So when we compare two extremes here, one is industry, another one is considered to be company. Company should outperform sector. Then we select. If company is not at all performing, it is below the average rate, then we say like, yes, the company is not performing best. Similarly, dividend yield and sector dividend yield, there are again variety of factors here. So which if I start explaining everything, then it will gonna take lots and lots of time. So I'll try to skip here. So the important points are explained. And this is 1 month return, 1 year returns, 52-week high with reference to Sterlite Technology, 52-week low with reference to Sterlite Technology. And this is the detail of 24th June 2020, the previous day details. Now, if you just see, the fundamental analysis is prime for selection of stock. Why I say so? It is just because you have the ratios, you have the strategies where you employ it, and you will get to know whether the company is fundamentally strong or not. So to put this in simple words, for conclusion with reference to fundamental analysis, I can say like this. If the pillars are considered to be strong with reference to your home, then the home is considered to be safe and it is very constructive. So when a company is strong in terms of fundamental basis, then it is good to go for the purpose of investment. This is what I am trying to say. Second point, is industry analysis is prime for stock selection? Yes. Again, it's a question. We'll try to understand where, what and all you have to study. So you are studying your company with reference to industry. In the sense, as I told you, Sterlite Technologies is one of the company under telecom equipments or telecom. Telecom is considered to be an industry there. So what we try to learn here, relationship between industry and company. Example, if we talk about healthcare industry, we have pharmaceutical, healthcare, pharmaceutical, cement, banking, telecom, etc. So we have variety of industries. And here you're going to talk about something called group of companies, and we call them as competitors. So among the competition or among the competitors, which company is growing best? Now I'm going to give you a few examples because of this corona issue. So most of the companies have closed down. Most of the companies are in crisis too. But believe me, there are few companies which are growing to a maximum extent. Example, Parle-G. You never thought that Parle-G will gonna outbreak the estimates which were made in stock market. So during lockdown period, during corona time, most of the people or citizens have consumed Parle-G biscuits. And the Parle-G biscuits, returns as well as sales are increased to a maximum extent. And there is one more company called D-Mart. D-Mart Group has a maximum amount of, shares with reference to profits in the entire, I can say fast-moving consumer goods. They are growing at a faster pace. And the important point is pharmaceutical. The companies which are manufacturing tablets and all, and now the corona is also added to the picture, then automatically there will be demand for pharmaceutical industries. So now what I'm trying to say, this is considered to be like, a competition where because of certain issue, one party will gonna have loss, another party will gonna have a profit. Now, how do we need to analyze? We have to analyze by implementing something called Michael Porter's 5 forces. So I think most of you have already studied how exactly Michael Porter's 5 forces will gonna work when you are entering into a business, or when you're entering into any kind of a company framework. So which I'm not gonna touch upon, but I'm gonna talk about something called SWOT and test analysis. When you are investing on so-and-so company, you must have to do industrial analysis on the basis of their strengths, weakness, opportunities, and challenges, and also analyzing their political, economic, sociographic, socio-demographic, and technological factors. Apart from this, what else we have to understand? So we have to understand growth rate of industry, nature of competition, pollution standards, policies, labor conditions, government programs. You mentioned there are a number of factors which you have to study in order to know what your industry is. One classical example which I wanted to talk about with reference to state of technology, try to understand. See, earlier we never thought that we're gonna have a companies like Uber, Ola, or considered to be Swiggy or Zomato or whatever. The state of technology involved by these companies have changed the landscape of industry itself. Now, if you just see the practical example right now on real-time basis is webinar. You never thought that Zoom app will gonna be there and we will gonna have class online. Have you thought? So each and every person used to go to certain seminar or panel discussions, used to sit there and try to analyze. Now everyone are at their home and we are trying to analyze the different aspects or with the help of webinar. Now what I'm trying to say, the state of technology is changing the landscape of industry, where industry is prone to different changes. When technology is impacting industry, obviously company will also get impacted. That's why most of the companies are getting merged or getting closed, and most of the companies are going for high level also just because of state of technology. So as a investor, always you have to remember that you should understand how exactly industrial analysis also plays an important role. So in order to understand this in a very better way, so try to classify the industry into 4. This is of cyclical industries, which works on cyclical trend basis. Defensive industries, which will never gonna change. Cyclical plus growth. Example like automobiles. So automobile industries are more of like cyclical and growth. So there will be an occasions where there will be of number of bookings, where the occasion is considered to be where nobody will gonna book. It's like that. It depends on the cyclical trend, as well as growth is considered to be very high. And growth industries, normally we say FMCG is considered to be of growth industries moving ahead over a period of time. Now I asked a question like, is it very important? So the answer is considered to be yes. Industrial analysis is also prime for selection of stock. If that is the case, what next? Is company analysis is really important for selection of stock? Yes, company analysis is also very important for the purpose of selection of stock. See, at the end, you might gonna have a thinking like, yes, do I need to invest on stock market? Because you have to do all these analysis, and you will think like, yes, do we need to do it or not? See, understanding each and everything, whatever the concept which I'm trying to tell you now, if you understand all these things in depth at once, it will be easy for you to assess the phase of a stock in a split of seconds. You will understand whether the company is good, whether the stock is good or not. Then the remaining things are considered to be very easy for you. So only thing is, at the initial stage, we must have to work hard for the purpose of learning all these concepts. So let's get into the company analysis. It talks about competitive advantage, whether the company is good or bad, whether the financial performance is good or bad, profits and sales record over a period of time, and also projected over a period of time. The important thing is corporate image. Believe me, nowhere you should never lose corporate image. If you lose corporate image, then there will be a problem. And operating efficiency, how exactly they are maintaining their service level agreement, how efficient they are in terms of manufacturing, how exactly the quality of products are coming out of company. All this will be analyzed here. The borrowing capacity is also very much important. Believe me, no company should go alone for only share stocks. No company should alone go for debt. Always they have to go for a leverage. That's a combination of both debt and equity. If you are strong at stock market, when you borrow money from stock market, people will subscribe at a fast pace. Example, assume like railway is floating, bonds or floating certain securities for the purpose of collection of money. Believe it or not, people will oversubscribe railways. Why they oversubscribe railways? Because they know that railway belongs to a certain group. We call it as government, and it is safety. In the same way, if you observe ABC company, once they float debentures, nobody will gonna take it. Why? Because they don't have any kind of analysis with reference to company. If you do so all this, then automatically you will get to know whether the company is good or not. And lastly, talking about something called borrowing capacity, and the borrowing capacity is also closely linked with management. Remember, always we have to believe that the people who are at the top level has to know how exactly they have to manage the company, how they have to lift the company. So management is also one of the key criteria to identify whether the company is good or not. So now the question again is company analysis is really important? So the answer is yes. You have to do company analysis for the purpose of selection of stock. Finally, is economic analysis is prime for trade of stock? It's of selection of stock only. So there are a number of factors here again. So it's more in terms of GDP, in terms of inflation, in terms of savings, tax, interest rates. All these are considered to be factors which you have to understand for the purpose of economic analysis. Is economic analysis is really prime for the purpose of selection of stock? It is. Yes. The answer is considered to be yes. How exactly it will gonna work, which I'm gonna tell you now. You have to just imagine that today you're gonna get an inflation rate. Inflation rate, let us assume, is 7%. Do you really think it will gonna have an effect on stock market? If you ask me, I will gonna say yes. Inflation rate will affect the stock market. GDP reduction or will affect the market. Interest rate reduction or increase will affect the market. Specifically, bank stocks we talk. Tax. Now we are talking about GST. Increase or decrease in GST will also affect the market. Savings habit of people will also affect the market. And then, investment and savings. And then balance of payments. If you just observe here, we are having a fiscal deficit. And if there is an increase in fiscal deficit, it will have an effect on stock market. You name it. It is the entire economy always leveraged with variety of informations which we have here. So is the economic condition of the country is good or not? If the economic condition is good, then we're gonna have the very good analysis with reference to selection of stock. Otherwise, no. Remember, we have a country called Greece. We have witnessed, recession in America in 2008, recession in European Unions, and Brexit. There are a number. So you just have to name it. Depends on the economic condition of the country, people will try to invest and people will select the stock true. Okay. So this is all about 4 analysis that we have studied: fundamental analysis, industry analysis, company analysis, and economic analysis or economy analysis. The final part, which is very much important for everyone to understand, is post-mortem activity. Post-mortem activity is more of technical analysis. So technical analysis is prime for trade of stock. Yes, it is one of the factor for the purpose of trade of stocks. How exactly it works? Let us understand. Normally speaking, you're going to have 2 trends. One is called bullish trend. Another one is called bearish trend. So what is bullish trend? Bullish trend where the prices are moving ahead. Bearish trend where the prices are going down. Market is not only that much. Market has grown ups and downs in different ways now. So I have few techniques or few characteristics which will define how exactly technical So believe me, I'm not talking about double top, double bottom, and all the other strategies which we used to do, follow from long ago. Whatever I mentioned now, everything is of new strategies which they are using it in, practical in terms of technical indicators. So let us understand one by one in detail. So till then, am I okay? Like, is everything is okay? Am I audible?
Everyone can see. I will click.
No. Nobody can see.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Coordinators?
Sir, we can hear you. Go on, sir. Go on, sir. Hello.
Okay, I assume that everyone can see the screen and the voice is having a clarity.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Go on.
Okay. Sure.
Sir, go on. We can hear you.
So going back to technical analysis now, postmortem activity talks about something called past data. What is past data? It's more of like history. So history is mentioned in terms of statistics. That statistics will be used to identify. Now, if you just observe here, so observe the screen. This is called as candlestick analysis or candlestick chart. So which we're going to talk about price movements. Again, don't worry. So I'm going to explain what exactly candlestick analysis is. But just observe the trend of so-and-so stock here. It will be displayed from 2012 if you observe here. So the volumes are displaying from 2012 up to 2020. So I'm talking about something called past data. So what we are doing, we are examining the past data and we are predicting the price movements in future. So from 2012 to 2020, you are observing all the different prices with reference to so-and-so stocks. How exactly we can do? We're going to have variety of techniques here. We have exponential moving average, simple moving average, relative strength index, awesome oscillators, moving average, convergence, divergence, commodity component index. Variety of components we have. So I'll try to give you the exact information which is required in terms of technical analysis in simple words. Okay, so let's get into the technical analysis techniques. The famous one where everyone are trying to use, and whatever I'm giving you now, it is more of like the introduction of candlestick chart. When you go in depth, you're going to understand the patterns also. So what are all the different patterns which are there in candlestick, we're going to understand. First of all, on the right side, on the left side, if you see, there are two different candles here. One is the candle which is in green color, another one is in red color. So we call this candle as body. In the sense, it is the crux of the entire day trade which will going to happen over a period of time. So that will be displayed either in the form of bullish trend or in the form of bearish trend. Now observe here, there is something called OHLC. OHLC stands for open, high, market is open, high price on the entire day, low price on the entire day, closing price at the end of the day. So these are the candles, and the candles will be arranged in 4 different options or 4 different patterns or models for that matter. This OHLC can be understood in 2 different ways here. This is called as bullish trend and this is called as bearish trend. 650 rupees. Market is opened at 650 rupees. During the day trade, the market, with reference to so-and-so stock, goes down to 620. That is the lowest price. Goes up to 700. That is the highest price. It closed down to 670. That one, close price. So open price is 6. During the entire day, low price was 620, high price is 700, but closed at 670. This is with reference to bullish trend. Similarly, for bearish trend, it goes in another way, where the open price is here. If you just observe there, ulta of it. So open price is here. It opens at 650. Entire day, it goes up to 670. And at the end of the day, or maybe low price is around 580, but it closes at 590. In the sense, whatever you see in case of bullish trend is exactly opposite in case of bearish trend. So open price will be at the beginning and close price will be at the end in case of bearish trend. Now, the same candles are depicted from here to here. From 2012 to 2020, the same candles are depicted. And if you just see, you will gonna see some trend. From have been spoke to a larger extent. That means people have made a huge amount of money. In the sense, it started from 50. If you just observe here, it started from 50. It reached up to 350 rupees. Almost 7 times of the price, whatever we used to say. So this is how a candlestick analysis can be viewed. And remember, it's just a basic. So there are a number of patterns which you can understand over a period of time. There are two more things which are used widely in each and every platforms. One is called simple moving average. Another one is exponential moving average. So as we discussed, correct? So now we are having two lines here. One is simple moving average. Another one is exponential moving average. Now exactly what exactly is simple moving average and exponential moving average? Let us understand. Simple moving average is an average and accumulate for a period of 50, 100 or 200 days. How do we need to calculate? Example, first day the closing price is 10, second day 20, third day 30, fourth day again 30, fifth day it is considered to be 50. Let us assume like that. So what you do at the end of it, fifth day, you will gonna have a cumulative value starting from 10, 10 to 20, 20 to 30, total it is 60, 60 again 30, now it is considered to be 90, 90 again 50, 140. 140 divided by how many observations? 5 observations. That is the fifth rated value which you have, which we simply called as simple moving average, where the prices are moving on trend basis, fifth day or 10th day, 20th day, 100th day, like that. Now, simple moving average is found to be like old. So they have something called exponential moving average now. What exactly exponential moving average? It will give weightages. It will give weightages for the recent price. Recent price. Now today is 25th. So whatever the price which you have today will have highest weightage compared to the previous day. Similarly, yesterday it is 24th. Whatever the weightage which you give on 24th will be more than 23rd. So if you are having a recent data will have highest weightage and the past data will have lowest weightage. This is what is the crux of the exponential moving average. Now, why do we need to use both the lines? See here, exponential moving average depicts the real prices and simple moving average talks about the past prices. So simple moving average gives you the way, but exponential moving average will gonna gives you the direction and also the decision trend to take. So that's why we're gonna use this trend as a technical analysis. Now moving on, so we have one more technique called moving average convergence and divergence. So this is again at the higher end where we try to understand the movements of stocks. The same candlestick is used. Observe here, the same candlestick is used, but in case of moving average, convergence and divergence, we are trying to identify something called technical signals. What is exactly technical signal? A technical signal is one where it gives you the time to buy or a time to sell. Example, moving average convergence divergence formula is 12 period minus 26 period. In the sense, data whatever you have for 12 period will be minus with 26 period, and there must be a signal line which will be identified for the purpose of investment. Now, if you observe the screen here, so there is a bearish crossover, there is a bullish crossover. What exactly bearish crossover, bullish crossover? So which I'm gonna tell you. So bullish crossover is one where your line is crossing with reference to signal, and it is a line for the purpose of investment. So where it tells you whether to make an investment or not. So each and every trend will be repetitive in nature, and it will tell you whether to invest or not to invest by giving something called signals. Next, Bollinger Bands. So Bollinger Bands is one of the important technique. So in terms of technical analysis, which talks in terms of bands, we can say. So what exactly bands? In terms of mathematics, we say the highest value and the lowest value. In the sense, it's a range which will be provided within which trade going to happen. It is one of the good volatility indicators which will be used in case of business. Now observe here, this is called as Bollinger Band 1 and Bollinger Band 2. So stocks are moving here and the trend is moving here. Upward side, this is the maximum range which you can see. Lower end side, this is the maximum range which we can see, which is depicted in terms of standard deviation. Remember, if you are having knowledge of business research methodology, we're going to have +1 standard deviation, -1 standard deviation. So +1 standard deviation up to here, -1 standard deviation is up to here. In the sense, either positively you may gonna go or negatively also you may gonna go in terms of stock prices. But this is the range where the stock price moves. If it goes up, automatically it comes down, or if it goes down, it will come up again. So it shows in terms of simple moving average. Now, here the important point is squeeze. So squeeze means what? If these lines are coming closer, it leads to less volatility and it is a technical signal to buy. Squeeze means, again I'm repeating, if these two lines are coming closer, it is called as squeeze. When lines are closer, volatility is less. If volatility is less, it is a technical signal to buy. If the lines are broader, means volatility is very high, then you should not have to buy. This is the beauty of Bollinger Bands. Similarly, you have an oscillator which we call as relative strength index, which will be used widely in order to identify oversold stocks and overbought stocks. Remember, oversold stocks where the prices are low, overbought stocks where the prices are high. Again, it is at the higher end where you cannot have a decision, because oversold stocks, overbought stocks, both are considered to be very difficult to take decisions, because it is not at the adequate level, it is an inadequate level wherein which it is oversold or it is overbought. So it is one of the most popular momentum oscillator which are used in stock market. Now what exactly they say? When the stocks are oversold, if you just observe here, when the stocks are oversold, there are chances to an extent of 30%, more than 30%, it will move upward again. So it will going to go down when it is oversold. Again, there are chances that it may going to go up to an extent of more than 30%. Similarly, when it is overbought, if you observe here, this is the overbought range. If it is overbought, then there are chances that it may going to go to an extent of less than 70%. In the sense, these are the points we call as support and resistance level, which will going to tell you, or which will going to give you a decision to do whether to accept or to reject the decision process with reference to investment. So you have stochastic RSI, that is relative strength index, which again talks in different point with reference to 0.8 and 0.2 as a decision factor. Okay, so finally we are at the end in terms of technical analysis. So you have support and resistance level. So support level is here, which is depicted in terms of blue, which says like up to this level only stocks can fall. From here, stocks will increase. Resistance level is 1, where it is depicted in terms of red, where up to this level, stocks can go up. From there, it leads to corrections. This is more of like support and resistance level. And trend lines. This is a simple one where we say upward trend or downward trend or sideways. Sideways in the sense you have too much of fluctuations into it. And this is more of like, trend which we can see in each and every stock often. And the most, like the interesting one is Fibonacci studies, which I feel one of the important technical analysis, which is used widely. So Fibonacci retracement is one of the good thing where Fibonacci ratios are used. If you observe here, 61.8%, 38.2%, and 23.6%. Now how exactly it works, I'll tell you that. See, when the stock is having a rally, what is rally? Rally is nothing but opening price is 300, but the closing price is 500 rupees. Or opening price is 300 and the closing price is 100. In the sense, there is of too much of value fluctuations happens between opening price to closing price. So you're gonna identify the difference first. So what is the difference here? 300 to 500 means 200. Again, 300 to 100 means it is again considered to be of 200. Now 200 is the total difference which you can see in a single day. That is called as sharp upward trend or sharp downward trend, which will going to happen with reference to stock market. What exactly a Fibonacci study says, if the stock moves upward or downward sharply, then they lead to something called corrections. And the corrections will not going to happen in different ways. It will happen in terms of ratios. So they say, if the stocks are moved ahead to an extent of 500 rupees, chances of decreasing starts first at 23.6%. Chances of decreasing starts at 23.6% or increasing starts at 23.6%. Once it crosses 23.6%, then it goes to the second level, 38.2%. Once it crosses 38.2%, it goes to the next level, that is 61.8%. So each and every trend will be identified. If you observe here, so 23% level acting as resistance, 23% level acting as support. So either you will gonna have this trend 23.6 where the prices will increase or prices will decrease at the rate of 23.6%, or it goes to second level, that is 38.2%, or it goes to third level, that is 61.8%. In a sense, you will gonna have the bands, and these bands will be used for the purpose of decision making. So I think all these analysis, it's quite impossible to understand at one shot. But my objective is to make you to at least know, if you know all these topics, it's very well, or if you are not knowing it, so at least try to have an analysis on this. And these are considered to be the new things which are there in technical analysis, which can be used everywhere for the purpose of trade of a stock. So ultimately what I can conclude is, when it comes to stock market, fundamental analysis is very good, and it is one of the prime technique which is used for the purpose of selection. Company analysis is used for the purpose of identifying company situation. It is prime for selection of stock. Industrial analysis is also very much used because you have to know where you are investing, the company belongs to which industry, and again it is prime for selection of stock. Similarly, economic analysis is also important because when it comes to country like India, there are a number of factors which are going to influence. So economic analysis is also prime for selection of stock, but technical analysis is very much important for the purpose of trade of stock. So as an investor, when you are entering into stock market, make sure that you know 4 analysis in detail. Once you are into market, once you start with investment, over a period of time, try to learn technical analysis, identify the data sets, identify the projected future earnings of so-and-so companies, make your decision by using various technical analysis like this. Thereby, you will never gonna call stock market as gambling. You're gonna call stock market as one of the best platform to make quality money. So thereby, I can conclude the session. Thank you so much for all the opportunities which are provided to me. So over a period of time, because it's my, I think, fourth or fifth webinar. So wherein which have, got the platform to share whatever I know. And there are many opportunities wherein which I'll also try to learn from you. So now it's, I think, open for a question and answer session where I'll be happy to learn, and also where I'll be happy to get information from you as well. Thank you.
So thank you very much, sir. That was a wonderful presentation. And dear participants, before we move on to the question and answer session, let me give a piece of information. The feedback forms with which the certificate will be attached will be shared to you immediately after the webinar in the WhatsApp groups. So hope all of you are on WhatsApp groups. So the feedback form with which the certificates are attached will be forwarded to you immediately after the webinar on WhatsApp groups. Okay. So now, dear participants, I'm giving the option for unmute and talk themselves. So those of you have any questions, or those of you have any queries or clarifications, can directly unmute yourself and ask the resource person. The resource person, Soumnathan sir, is there. So kindly unmute for yourselves and ask the questions. Kindly ask one at a time.
Hello, sir. Are you able to hear me?
Yes, ma'am. We can hear you. Go on, ma'am.
Good morning, sir. Your session was really excellent.
Thank you, ma'am.
I have one basic query. What is the percentage of stock invested in India, sir? Because generally there are so many teenagers who don't believe that stock is one of the good investment for them to make. But I just wanted to know. Initially, it was something around 11%. Now I just wanted to know what is the current rate of investment.
See, ma'am, actually the current rate is around 6 to 8%. That's all.
Oh, is it? Okay.
It's not 11% at all. So because investment, again, it is clarified in terms of direct and indirect investments. Indirect investments, many of us are doing it. Example, when you talk about NPS, National Pension Scheme, so people are investing indirectly. They don't know that, yes, we are investing on stock market, because whatever the corpus which they collect directly invested on stock market only. But I'm talking about something called direct investment, where you only make an investment into stock market. The percentage is considered low.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Anyone else has any questions or queries, you can ask. You can unmute and ask. Those of you are not asking any questions, please mute yourselves, because it's causing a lot of background noise, which will disturb the resource person to answer, and also those who are asking questions also it will disturb. So those of you asking questions, you can unmute, and once you're done with, please mute it. Yeah. Anybody else?
Even if they want to contribute also, they can do it.
Yeah, anyone has any contribution, you can make, the resource person says. And in case if you have any problem in asking questions, you can raise hand, then we will also pick out your name so you can ask questions. There is Nafiza, Farida, then Mahalakshmi, yes, etc. Unmuted. If you have any questions, you can ask. I guess the presentation was such high caliber, so people do not have any questions or queries, and it was well presented as well. And when the lecturers from the department of Loyola Degree College were hearing, they were all commenting it was such an amazing one with clarity, etc. So if you do not have any more queries or questions, I think we will move on for the.
Hello, sir. I have another question. Can I go ahead with it?
Yeah.
Okay, sir, as I'm much interested in stock market, so will you suggest me to go directly get into the company stock market, or you want me to go through a broker?
Okay. See here, actually, broker, it's a platform, that's all. So I don't want you to go for a broker. I want you to select a platform. See, while selecting a platform, so I'm into Zerodha. Zerodha is one where it will not going to give you any kind of a suggestions. It will only going to give you a platform to invest. So when you wanted to enter into stock market, my point of view is starts with simple, investment plan. What is that simple investment plan? Systematically, you are contributing certain sum of money into stock market. In stock market also, mutual funds is not only operated by AMC's asset management company, you can also invest. So start with investing on mutual funds directly. Again, I'm mentioning a word. Start with investing on mutual funds directly, not on an indirect basis. So if you invest on direct basis, automatically you have a chance to learn. So start with that. Later, try to learn each and every concept in detail. Try to analyze. Try to watch, the trends which will be discussed by various experts. Identify what is your decision out of it. Thereby, you make a decision at the end. So initially, it should be SIP. Later, it should be your direct investment on anything.
Yeah, thank you so much, sir.
Sir, there are a few questions posted on the chat.
Yes.
Maybe I'll ask. Maybe I'll just read out, sir.
Yeah.
There is one question by Dr. Sunil.
Yeah.
Dr. Sunil B. Okay, he's asking, which is the safest investment, mutual funds or individual shares? That is the question is asked, sir.
Here, both of them are very risky. Why it is risky, I'll tell you. Individual stocks, you are taking the entire responsibility. Returns are huge and 100% only for you. Risk is also huge and 100% is only for you. But when it comes to mutual funds, most of them will say it is not risky. People are not forgetting to understand there is something called, when you see the advertisement, it says mutual funds are subject to market risk. Please read the offer document carefully before investing. So the statement is very clear. Your funds are managed by experts. It doesn't mean that they have guaranteed. It is subject to fluctuations in stock market. And moreover, when you go with mutual funds, they will collect a commission and AMC charges will be high. So whatever the returns which you get, out of which they'll also take the share of it. Thereby, you will gonna have returns good only with an intention that yes, the company and the situation is good. If the situation is bad, automatically you will also lose returns. Sometimes you're gonna have negative returns too, because whatever the AMC charges which they charge, you cannot escape from that.
Sir, I have only question.
Yes, sir, go on.
Sir, how do we analyze in index options? Sir? How do we analyze in index option like Nifty and Bank Nifty?
Yeah, see, actually, basically speaking, when it comes to options, so always you have to analyze in terms of their movements. When it comes to Sensex as well as Nifty, we talk about trends again. So options, basically you have the right to either to buy or to sell. When you are going behind Nifty or considered to be Sensex for that matter, there are a number of factors which you have to take into consideration. Example, when you are into stock market, I'm assuming that you are an investor. So when you are into stock market, even our stock market starts by 9:30, but the pre-opening session always will gonna have variety of informations available to us, whether the market is good or not, because the previous trade closes, everything happens within that pre-session. Within that pre-session, you will get to know whether the market is bullish or bearish. And one more thing, so before 9:30 in other countries, example like Asian countries or any other country for that matter, their stock market situation is also important. If stock market with reference to America is going down, it will definitely have an impact on Indian stock market. So if it is directly having an impact on Sensex and Nifty, definitely it will have an impact on options with reference to Sensex and Nifty too. So what you have to do? So you have to analyze the trend first. So once you analyze the trend, once you feel that yes, I can be in a position to be in terms of either call option or put option or a combination of two, there are a variety of options again, you can decide your investment opportunity.
Sir, thank you for the sharing, sir. So there is a question by Godwin D'Souza. He says that the session was very good and he says unfortunately he's not able to speak. Therefore, he has
Okay.
asked two questions like, can we buy US stocks from India, and which is the safest, which is the best platform to buy? And also he adds one more question to the same, and he says, okay, also, how can we make use of technical analysis while market moving sideways?
Okay. First question is, can we buy a stocks of America? Yes, you can buy through American depository receipts. So there are ADRs and GDRs which are available. So you can buy through that. Any stocks for that matter, you can buy it. So ADR, GDR will be of 10 stocks or 20 stocks with reference to so-and-so companies. When markets are moving sideways, it is quite difficult to analyze the patterns. I was talking about, trend lines. If everyone observes upward trend, downward trend, and sideways. So when it is in sideways, the better strategy as per me is patience. So sideways can go to either upward trend or can go to downward trend. So if you just want it, do you have a time? Can I show
yes,
this?
sir. Go on, sir.
Yeah, just a moment. So this is what I was talking about. So I think you can see the screen, correct?
Yes, sir, we can see.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. So this is called upward trend and this is called downward trend, where your decision is very simple. Market is moving and the market is going down, either to buy or not to buy. When the market is going sideways, in the sense you will never get to know which direction it is moving, whether it is moving upward or downward. If that is the case, it is better to have patience. Just keep your investment safe. Don't take decision either to sell or to purchase. Don't rush yourself. So make sure that you're going to have patience. Once the sideway clears, automatically you will going to have a very good trend which will going to happen at so and so shares. Believe me, all the shares will going to be repetitive in nature with reference to history. If the shares are moving ahead, in the sense moving upward trend, if it is going down now, again it will going to follow the same trend, because it's more of like moving averages which will going to happen for a longer period of time. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, sir. So I think we can go for one last question.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yes, go on, sir.
Hi, sir. Good morning.
Hello. Good morning. Good morning.
I just have a couple of questions. One is that how should a ideal portfolio look like in terms of the composition? How much of it should be equity? How much of it should be mutual funds? And in mutual funds, how much equity? How much debt? How much hybrid? And probably how much of a risk-free in terms of government bonds or bank deposits? That is question one. Second question is, given the current pandemic situation, is it a good time to invest in blue chips where some of the blue chips are at a all-time low value, something like SBI or ITC? Is it the right time to buy the blue chips?
Yeah. Okay. So coming to your first question, which you are talking about, the optimum mix with reference to portfolio. See, earlier we were having an assumption that only we have to take a traditional investments into picture. Now we changed our assumption. We will gonna mix up both traditional as well as modern. But because of this pandemic situation, even though we say that FD is considered to be the safest one, the rates of FD is going down. SB account is offering around 2.5 to 3%, which will never be considered as an investment opportunity at all. So what I'm trying to say, whatever we used to talk in terms of risk-free are giving less returns. So when you are having a leverage or considered to be like a combination of both, risk-free and risky. So normally speaking, the ideal is always considered to be 60-40. 60-40 in the sense 60 is considered to be of risk-free, 40 is considered to be of risky. But again, one of the slide clearly explains it depends on the perception of an investor. I'm assuming that you are an investor aged between 30 to 40 or less than 30. If that is the case, normally we say you have the capacity to take a risk. When you have the capacity to take a risk, you can change your composition to 70 to 30. 70 risky, 30 risk free. Why I'm telling you 70 risky? Just because you have the capacity to analyze, you have the capacity to take an extra risk. An extra risk will gonna have extra reward. So that is for first question. So second question is relating to what? Sorry, I forgot. Second question.
Is it good time to buy the blue chips?
Yes. Blue chip shares. See, blue chip shares, again, as it is considered to be of large cap for that matter, every large cap industry has to take care of their own problems. Now, because of this pandemic situation, where most of the industries doesn't have any kind of a sale, as I've mentioned earlier, FMCG goods are moving ahead, pharmaceutical goods are moving ahead, and believe it or not, in terms of telecom, Reliance is moving ahead. So what I'm trying to say, all the blue chip companies are not performing best. Only those companies where they have enough amount of scope for development are moving ahead. So I'll just mention the example to you. Reliance Jio is a zero debt company now.
Again, send it to principal.
Reliance Jio is considered to be a company where it is moved to zero debt. Now the question is, next what? Do you think the company will gonna have enough opportunities again in future? Do you think the company prices are going ahead again? Because it was around 700, now it is around 1700. People are very happy. But the next question is, what next for Jio? Do you think Jio will gonna go ahead? Will it gonna have any kind of an opportunity? Again, the questions will gonna come into picture. So blue chip companies, yes, you can invest, and most of them are going down when you buy at a very good price. Where the fundamentals are strong, it is good for go. It is good for investment too. But as per my suggestion, try to identify some mid cap as well as small cap companies, because those mid cap and small cap company will be one day a large cap. Because when you see Infosys 1980, 10 rupees, 12 rupees. 2010, it's a large cap. Getting my point? So mid cap and small cap is considered to be like one of the best opportunities. Again, blue chip company you can invest, but provided if the fundamentals are strong, if the company is too strong in the entire competitor vision, so you can go by that. I hope I answered.
Yes, sir. Yes, thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Is there any more?
So one more last question from my end.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
Just wanted to know, when a person is investing in an intraday, so which is a good time to invest? Which is a good time to purchase and sell in an intraday, sir?
Okay. See, normally, as I told you, 9:30 market opens, but 9 o'clock to 9:30 is considered to be a pre-market session where the trades of previous day and all the other factors will get adjusted. 9:30 to 10 o'clock, you cannot decide the movement of the market, because most of the time, so when we see the market, pre-session, it will be positive. Pre-session in the sense 9 to 9:30, it is positive. But once the market opens, suddenly there will be a bearish trend where whatever the profits which we are expecting will be waived off immediately. Most of the time, I'm going to give you the example of lockdown. When Prime Minister has announced lockdown, so normally what he does is previously at the end of the day, he'll going to give the trend saying like from tomorrow onwards, there will be a lockdown. So lockdown is nothing to do with share market. Most of them thinks like that. But lockdown is many things to do with stock market, because most of the companies will close. When company closes, no production. When there is no production, no sales. No sales means no money. It's like, a complete, a package of effects which will going to happen. So personally, I was seeing the stock market on that day. So where it was in bullish trend between 9 to 9:30. But because of news, suddenly within a span of 10 to 15 minutes, so whatever we got as a money, everything is vanished. So it's not about a right time, but frankly speaking, most of them suggest, and most of them, have given their opinion and idea also, after 10 or 10:30. So once the market is getting stabilized, it is good for you to invest as an investor, but not as a speculator, because speculator starts at any point of time. And they also say, don't invest at the end of the session, in the sense from 230 onwards, 230 onwards up to 330, don't invest, because most of them will be rushing towards selling or rushing towards purchasing the securities.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Hello. So, is there anyone asking a question?
Sir, I have one question.
Please talk loud, sir.
Sir, may I know the effect of Atmanirbhar Bharat, the package of Atmanirbhar Bharat, which was announced recently by the central government, the stock market.
Okay. See, most of them things like, Atmanirbhar Bharat gives a positive note for stock market. No, it's wrong. Actually, whenever government announces any kind of a subsidy or whenever government waves of loan, everything will gonna have a negative impact on stock market. So one example which I wanted to quote. So Atmanirbhar Bharat, one of the packages moratorium, that is extension of your EMI for 3 months or 6 months. They have given an order. See, as a EMI payer, in the sense I'm an EMI payer, for me, I think it's good because, for 3 months, I may not be in a position to pay and I'm going to postpone it. For me, it is good. But for banks, it is considered to be bad. Why it is bad? Just because whenever I give an opportunity to make the payment of money after a period of 3 months, so what those people will do, they will pay after a period of 3 months. Within that time, if something happens to the person who have taken loan, what will going to happen? Do you think banks can recover the money? No. It lead to something called increase in NPA. When NPA increases, what will going to happen? Their balance sheet will suffer. Their balance sheet will suffer in the sense the profit. When profit comes down, automatically they couldn't be in a position to post a very good returns to shareholders and the dividend rate comes down. So Atmanirbhar Bharat package, whenever they introduced, there were nothing to cherish for companies. There were only, an intention to pass on the money from one party to another party. But there is one, an announcement which was made with reference to TDS, 25%, TCS 25%, that was having a positive impact. So anything which cherishes the moments of companies will help the stock market. Anything which is given in the form of waiver or subsidies will definitely have a negative impact on stock market, because most of the situations we have seen that.
So, okay, sir. Thank you so much. Dear participants, we will wind up with the question and answer sessions. If you have any more queries or questions, perhaps you can post it on WhatsApp in the groups that are facilitated to you on WhatsApp, and maybe together with the Department of Commerce and the resource person, we'll try to figure out some solutions how we can cater to those questions. Okay. Now, may I invite Ms. Swati Shekhar, lecturer from the Department of Commerce, to propose the word of thanks.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Swati Shekhar, Faculty Department of Commerce, here to propose the vote of thanks for the webinar. Firstly, I would like to thank our eminent resource person, Mr. Swaminath, for sharing his vast knowledge about stock market instrument selection and various investment criteria other than technical analysis. So in this crisp and informative webinar, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
The event would not be a reality without the support Sorry about the tech issue. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Swati Shekhar, Faculty Department of Commerce, here to propose the vote of thanks for the webinar. Firstly, I would like to thank our eminent resource person, Mr. Swaminath, for sharing his vast knowledge on stock market instrument selection and various investment criteria analysis in this crisp and informative webinar. Thank you, sir. The event would not be a reality without the constant support of our management and our principal, Reverend Father Francis T. Almeida. I would like to thank our HOD, Ms. Tejaswini, and the Department of Commerce. Special thanks to Mr. Roshan, Faculty, Department of Journalism, for the technical guidance and support, and thanks to all the staff of Loyola Degree College. Finally, a warm gratitude to all our dear participants all through the webinar. Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Thank you.
So we also thank Ms. Swati Shekhar for proposing the word of thanks, and thanks to one and all. And we have a good day. We call it a day. We have already spoken about the feedback form through which you will receive the certificate. Immediately, you will receive the links for the feedback and the certificates. So please do so, and instantly you will receive your certificates. The links will be shared on the WhatsApp groups that are already facilitated to you. Thank you once again. Have a good day.